Redditors who have tried to hide on your cruise when it ended so that you could stay on the ship for the next round. How did that go? Very specific target audience. I don't know if this counts, but my dad got locked in a toilet cubicle on a ferry to France, and it took several people to find him. The toilet was right out of the way and you couldn't hear him yelling even right outside in the corridor, because the doors were so massive. I guess he could have gone immediately back to England. Could have become a ship toilet hermit. This happened to me on a boat in Malta. I went to pee on the only toilet on board in the basement of the boat as the boat docked for a 4-hour stop. I legitimately thought I might die. It was so hot I thought I might suffocate. Finally some guy found me 15 minutes after I was screaming and pounding on the door. He let me out and then laughed about it to his friends. Sort of happened with my husband too. He used to work as a shipping agent and the crew didn't realize he was still on board the tanker until he went up to the main deck. They had already set sail for South America from the UK, but thankfully were able to get him back to land on the pilot's boat. Is there something about bathroom doors on boats that the non-seafaring folk aren't aware of? Are the doors like airplane seat belts or something where they work counterintuitively to what we are used to? I'm legitimately afraid to pee on any watercraft. As someone who charters a boat at least once a year, I have to say that your fears are not in the slightest bit unreasonable. Boat toilets are like printers. Angry obstreperous shit slinging printers. Used to be in the USCG. We had this happen a few times in Miami. They were all escorted off the ship. Typically the police handle the situation, but if a stowaway was discovered while still in the 3 to 12 mile range, we would render assistance once they were apprehended by the onboard law enforcement. The problem here is that you only know about the unsuccessful stowaways, not the ones that manage to pull it off. Also, is keel hauling still an acceptable punishment for stowing away? Cruise ships are rather large. I'm not sure it's possible to survive a keel haul in from one of them, but I like the cut of your jib. The process is described by the British in the archived Universal Dictionary of the Marine from 1780 as plunging the delinquent repeatedly under the ship's bottom on one side and hoisting him up on the other after having passed under the keel. But it also says that the culprit is allowed sufficient intervals to recover the sense of pain, of which indeed he is frequently deprived during the operation, indicating that the ultimate goal of the punishment isn't death. Been doing this for a couple of years now. They slapped a name tag on me, and now I work here. Hope they also took your bank account and post a monthly salary in there. Then in 20 to 30 years you walk out like it never even happened. Then after 60 to 70 years you just die like normal people and everyone will forget this story. And then in 45 trillion years the universe collapses into itself. Hey man, come on. You can't jump that far ahead in the story. I wanted to hear the rest. He yada yadded over the best parts. Late to the party, but I can chime in and further add proof if needed. I worked for Carnival for 5 years, specifically in debarkation. Additionally, I worked for Disney Cruise Line and Princess Cruise Line. Here's what happens. We give you a card upon check-in, and that card is scanned the minute you step on board. Additionally, it is scanned when you leave the ship for either complete debarkation or excursions. At the end of your cruise, debarkation starts around 7 AM. Come 10 AM we receive a list of people who have not yet had their card scanned. It's impossible to get off the boat without getting your card scanned, unless you jump into the water, haha. Then a man begins to get you guys off the ship, so we can put a new 2200 to 2600 people on it. We do not start boarding new passengers until every card from the previous voyage has been scanned. In my experience, nobody ever waits and tries to hide. If you do take a cruise, book a flight that's a little bit later in the morning and go with the latest checkout time you can. So many people aim for debarking around 7 o'clock to 9 AM. Literally over 1700 people will be waiting in lines that'll take well over an hour to get out of. Instead of waiting in line for the hour, stay on board and eat some breakfast, take some last minute photos, and then when your time comes just leave, go through customs, and be on your merry way. I'm the one-stop redditor for all cruising tips. Haha. This sounds US specific though. Here in Sweden there are some really low-class party cruises on the Baltic Sea, called the fuck boats, where they don't scan anyone. And I guess there are all different levels in the world in between up to the luxury stuff. So not all cruises scan people. Boarded for a trip from Southampton to Queenstown. Stayed on to get to New York. All was good, until we hit a damn iceberg. Been 107 years and still haven't docked. Fucking sucks, man. At least the water is heating up finally though. Are you that bitch that left my son to die in the water so you could stay afloat on a door? Bitch. It is all electronic card swipe now. Everyone monitored all the time. All of the japes and scrapes of being a stowaway, one step ahead of the stewardess in the past now. Sounds like it would be easier to just get a job there. That was the usual outcome when I got caught. I worked for Carnival. We will find you. We know you're in the ship. And we'll want you to get off, so I can take a short nap, before I have to do it all over again in a few hours. What you must know, is that I have a particular set of skills. This guy gets it. I'm into this. I worked for a small cruise ship company, less than 100 packs, and I would die a little inside every time people weren't packed the morning of departure, and would slow everything down. Did they somehow forget that they needed to get off the boat that morning? Do those big ships do same day turns, i.e. debarkation and embarkation the same day? My company did that, and apparently it's not the norm, at least in small cruise ships. Most of the other companies seem to have at least 24 hours between trips. Yes, we absolutely do. A lot of times, people are still debarking, whenever early birds in VIP are embarking. Same day turnaround is the norm in the large liner industry. Not me, but a couple decided to hide to try get another week out of their holiday. This was while we were halfway through our holiday, so we heard it all. Dozens of announcements calling for them or anyone who's seen them were made throughout the day. Their rooms were searched and everything they owned in that room was seized, apparently. The ship left port late by about 90 minutes, but they were eventually found and escorted off the ship when the crew decided to check the identity of every passenger on board. All of their stuff was left in their room. How did they think they would get away with it? If you hide long enough without being seen, you'll be free to go. Source: GTA. Can confirm 100% completion. I don't know, it honestly baffles me. A little different. I was going through a really hard bout with depression in 2012 and really had nothing going on in life besides an overpass job at a gym. My parents decided to do a family cruise in March as our Christmas present. I was actually planning on saying goodbye to my family at the end of the trip and just getting off at the last island and not getting back on. Then I found out the cruise company would alert local authorities that I didn't get back on. I wanted to just island skip for a while instead of backpacking through Europe to do some thinking and adventuring. I didn't want to end up in some shitty Caribbean jail. It is right, they don't just leave without passengers as they could be lost and stuck. What happens if they find you and you don't want to get back on board? I have no idea, but can't think what you would go to jail for. You'd be all on your own though if you couldn't get home. Cruises leave without passengers all the time. Their terminology is actually, the boat didn't leave you, you left us. They will let the authorities know you stuck around, but usually a passport gives you at least a 90-day visa, so for the immediate future you're just stuck with no plan to get home. It's usually people who got a little too adventurous or too drunk on their shore excursion. Or you get pier runners who make the boat just in time, or sometimes don't make it, but it's a who genre on cruise chat boards. I'm getting ready to go on a cruise next week, and was watching a bunch of pier runner videos last night. Shit's hilarious, although I was actually a peer runner on my first ever cruise. Now I make sure I'm back on board way before last call. There's a bar overlooking a cruise ship berth in my hometown. I always love it when a few smart tourists get day drunk waiting for the line to be a reasonable length. As someone about to embark on a cruise, this thread could hold vital information. Have fun on your cruise. I met my wife on one 7 years ago. And are you a penguin? I intend to. It's not quite the round country trip I had planned, but it'll do. But no, not a penguin. You've just reminded me of my favorite joke. Me, ask me if I'm an orange. Them, are you an orange? Me, no. I've now been laughing to myself for a good 5 minutes. Thank you. Hey, I think you're the first person to latch onto that joke since I created the account. I made this to mock someone who was called ask_if_him_Jesus, and if anyone asked would say yes. That guy was probably Mexican. I don't know if this counts, but on the last night of a cruise my friends and I got really drunk. Well, I don't know how the hell, but I ended up somewhere passengers shouldn't be, in a goddamn supply closet I believe. The ship had docked, and there was a 2-hour search for me. Still drunk, I couldn't find a way to get out to the room where the supply closet was, but the door was locked. The crew thought I was trying to sneak another ride, but after reviewing the cameras they clearly could tell I was nowhere near sober. So they let me go on my way with a good laugh. To this day I still don't remember making my way down there. That's kind of adorable somehow. I can imagine them all bring up the security footage like, what a jerk, we'll see how sneakily he planned this. Oh, well, oh wow, he's very drunk and very confused, isn't he? Basically, they were planning on reporting me and all that, but the captain let it slide. Just very thankful they caught it on camera. Also slightly embarrassing, LMAO. Day 247. They still don't realize I have been living off of seawater and Ritz crackers for the past month. I can't let them see me in the cafeteria. People tell me all the time, dude, just leave the boat, but none of them understand. Using the quarters I find on the ground, I was finally able to pay my cell phone bill again today. I got a text from some guy named Boss Dumb Name telling me that he's gonna put me in a thing of fire. Whatever, probably insane. I got a scam text from some guy named Jane calling me husband, and from police. Regardless, I'm probably gonna fry up the phone battery for more fire today. I sometimes wonder what life is like outside of the ship, but quickly dismiss those thoughts after I realize that there is no such thing as living outside of the ship. Around day 50 or 60, people in blue coats began to harass me, saying that I must go, or they're gonna find me or something. They're probably just heroin addicts, though they scared me enough to go incognito until they're gone.